Hello, this is Angelique with the Gaston County Public Library, and you're listening to We're Booked Up, a segment of the Gaston Speaks podcast wherein Kendall, Andrew, and I discuss books. For this episode, we'll be discussing One in a Millennial on Friendship, Feelings, Fangirls, and Fitting In by Kate Kennedy. But first, what have we been reading or watching?
I've been rewatching Nobody Wants This Season 1 in anticipation of Season 2.
That's right.
I have wanted to start Stranger Things, but it hasn't happened yet. In anticipation of Stranger Things Season 5 coming out. I've started 2 books, but I didn't finish them because I really struggled with getting through this one. The Assistant to the Villain series. Mm-hmm. I'm currently on Accomplice to the Villain, which is the 3rd one. And I have since learned it's not going to be a trilogy. There's going to be another. And I don't know how to feel about it because I was really hoping that it would be just nice and concise and I could just move on with my life. But no, I guess we'll do another one. Hopefully I'm excited. I don't know. And I'm reading a YA book, Our Infinite Fates. I do not recommend to either of you, but it's like a sweet little, it's not sweet. It's... The idea is that there's it's basically a reincarnation story where there are 2 souls that meet each other in every single life, and in every single life they kill each other before their 18th birthday. And one of the characters, the main character, is trying to break the cycle. And in this current life, she's trying to survive past her 18th birthday so that she can basically donate stem cells to save her sister who has, I think, cancer. Anyway... It's supposed to be a romance. It feels not like a romance when I describe it, but we'll find out.
Oh, me. I read this, and that's as far as I've gotten in my read. I have all these books I want to read. I did start, and I have not finished it, but we recently had the author, she's a journalist, Valerie Berline, come to Gaston County for a Literacy Council event about the devil at his elbow. And it's the story of the Murdoch family. And there's that new Hulu series, which looks really not great, but that's okay. It looks cheesy, overdrawn, kind of. Anyway, but I'm like 65, 70 pages into it, and it's very well written, and it doesn't actually feel like a nonfiction book. She tried to write it like a Southern Gothic story, and it's interesting. And then I did see the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie, One Battle After Another. Oh, it was good. It was so good. It's like 3 hours, so it's not for everybody, but it's highly entertaining, and actually surprisingly a comedy in a lot of it, which is not expected. And then watching, I don't know, I don't know, not really much. I keep I literally will start an episode of something, and I end up just like scrolling on my phone or doing something. I end up not actually finishing an episode very often, so I don't know what that's about, but. What about you?
I started rewatching Stranger Things, and I got to season 4, and watched the first episode of that, and I was like, So, I mean, I didn't dislike season 4, but it's not my favorite. I might continue it. YouTube, but not car crash videos. There's this YouTuber who lives in Svalbard, which is the island closest to the Arctic Circle, and all her videos are mostly the same because there's like not a whole lot to do on Svalbard, but they're interesting. And then I haven't really read anything except this book. Yeah, I haven't really done much.
We are so exciting. No. Oh, no. I'm going to take that back. We still consume things. I went and saw Wicked on Broadway.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
It was
yes.
stunning. I cried. My husband cried. It was a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. If you like Wicked, you should. I assume we have the movie here that we could.
Absolutely.
The first part. You could also get the Wizard of Oz series here. You could get Wicked by Gregory Maguire, although that has a different vibe than the play.
Very much so.
But yeah.
The soundtracks.
You can get the soundtrack here. And then, we saw Noah Reid.
That's right.
Which I had such a lovely time, guys. That was so much fun.
He's good.
I know. So Noah Reid played Patrick in our beloved Schitt's Creek.
And he had an opener, Sarah Grace White. She was lovely.
She had a lovely voice.
And she's the daughter of Katie Seagal. Mm-hmm. And they told me I could not yell really loudly. Have you met Ed O'Neill? And so I did not.
Yes, no, we did not discuss that.
But I really kind of wanted to know. I'm sure she has. Anyway, she was great though.
Mm-hmm.
She was really, really talented. So, and that Carolina Theater's kind of cool. The
Yeah, it's
new-
nice.
It was beautiful. So
Mhm.
many picture moments. Speaking of a millennial thing, like there was a lot of Instagram moments there.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And it's right across from the new Charlotte Mecklenburg Main Library. We got to see that construction, which was kind of cool. That'll be fun to visit.
Great.
So, we're as library people, we're geeky people who visit other libraries when we go places. So.
I love to do that. I think it's
Mhm.
also an industry thing sometimes, like because Marcus will go into other Targets.
Oh,
and
really? Okay.
He'll be assessing things as we go through, and he'd be like, "Did you see?" And I'll be like, "No, I did not. Tell me about it." So,
Like I went to the San Diego one when I was at the main library one because it was kind of on the path.
mm-hmm.
And my problem is that I go to these big city ones with all the money, and I love my library. We're an amazing library, but then they're like, "Oh, I want that."
I know.
And then you ask the librarian, "How much did that cost you?" You're like, "I can't get that." So
Yeah.
it's okay. It's not a, but that'll be cool once it's done, and it'll be right there at the theater, which is nice, and it's right up from the Blumenthal, so it's all kind of in a circle, right there on was that Trade and Try On and
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
I got to take really pretty pictures of like the Bank of America building for my kids because when
yeah.
we look out, from Gaston County, we can see the
Right.
Charlotte skyline. I'm like, look, this is the building I was near.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. It was a good time. So there's positive things.
Yeah.
Trying to uplift our real drab intro. It was like
We didn't do anything.
the book was just a.
I went to a different concert too.
Oh
That's
yeah, you did. Tell me
right.
more. Also related to Stranger Things.
Yeah, I went to the Joe concert, which is Joe Keery's. Well, it's him, but now he has like a group. I don't know how he defines it. I'm not gonna ask. But it was good. It was in Asheville. It
That's
was nice to
fun.
be in Asheville. My
That's
hotel was decent. Motel decent. Whatever. But yeah. So we did stuff.
It was good
We
stuff.
did stuff, yeah.
We did stuff.
I've been shindigging. I've done a lot of shindigs.
Good for you.
I just haven't read anything or consumed. I
'Cause-
think it's because I'm too busy shindigging
Yeah.
to consume.
Yeah.
That will end in like a week or two, so that I can hunker down and start watching Christmas movies and reading Christmas books.
Oh my gosh, I put a new Fern Michaels book out on the new fiction, and it was a Christmas one, and I realized it's coming.
Yeah, we've been getting quite a few Christmas books.
Mhm.
Mostly I put them in the holiday storage so I can bring them up with the holiday books when the holiday. But if there's like more than one, I try to at least put one out. What were you gonna say, Kendall?
She's like, oh, it was funny.
I did the breathing thing that I know that now that I'm editing things that is very annoying. So sorry. But I also was really excited. Like it's gonna come up like a Grinch style star moment when they're singing at the end and Yahoo.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Heart.
People like bum rush it. They're like, oh, the Christmas stuff's here. They get really excited about it. So it's a fun thing for our patrons.
And to be able to center all the new books that you squirreled away
Yeah.
already, and it's going to be like, yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm not going to read the new Fern Michaels. Just no offense.
I don't
to
think
Fern
I'm going to
Michaels.
read the old Fern Michaels either.
Me neither,
Yeah.
but
They're short though.
they are short. If you're looking-
Bonus.
If you're looking
We
for your
love a-
Goodreads.
We love a short read.
She like writes novellas every month, I think.
Short
Awesome.
queen.
Yeah. All right.
We're reinventing that hashtag. I like it.
Are we gonna talk about the book now?
Sure, we
No.
probably should.
No. Okay,
Yes.
we'll just go.
No.
We'll leave.
No. Let's talk about the book.
Book is fine. Whatever. We're done.
It was okay.
It was okay.
Okay. I want to read the summary. Yeah. Okay. Host of the popular millennial focused podcast, Be There in 5, Kate Kennedy takes on a nostalgic pop culture tour in One a Millennial. Part funny, part serious, Kate navigates the complicated nature of celebrating and criticizing the culture that shaped her as a woman, for better or worse, while arguing that great depths can come from surface-level interests. With Kate's trademark style and vulnerability, this unapologetically honest and heartwarming story tackles many millennial hot topics, including AOL, Instant Messenger, purity culture, American Girl dolls, going out tops, Spice Girl feminism, her feelings about millennial motherhood, and more. Kate's laugh-out-loud asides and keen observations will have you nodding your head and maybe even tearing up. Short and sweet.
Unlike the book. No, I'm kidding.
I mean,
It technically was
Okay.
like 300 pages, still kind of short.
Yeah.
And it was there were really sweet moments. Like,
There-
yeah, okay. I'm sorry, Angelique.
What-
You can lead this.
what are we gonna rate it then?
I think I'm pretty confident in my 3.75. There were parts of the book that I loved. I loved listening to. I liked listening to weirdly with like Marcus in the
Mhm.
background, like overhearing the book. I thought a lot of what she had to say was very funny. She's very clever. I just really struggled because it all felt a little I'm going to say dense as in thick. Like there was just a lot. Like there was a lot to parse through. Not dense as in like dumb. It was very smart.
Correct.
It's very
Yeah,
smart.
Yeah. I would say like a 2.753, 2.5 to a 3. Yeah, because you're right. When the moments hit that you did feel it, you were like, oh my God, I relate to this. Because you asked me what I relate to it because it's very specific on a female experience as a
100%.
millennial. But there's stuff that crosses all of that. And even some of those things where she like relooks at some of the you're like, oh, I never thought of it that way kind of thing. No, it wasn't bad. It's incredible. There were just like 2 or 3 major problems with it that just, like you said, I just struggled to get through it. But when it popped. And she's not a bad writer. I would actually like to listen to her podcast because I think broken down like that, I would digest it.
Listening to
better.
the book is way easier than
trying to read
reading
it.
the
Okay.
book. As I did a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Listen to it. Listen to it, audience. In short spurts. Like a podcast. It's almost as if she's meant to make podcasts.
I will say one of the comments on Goodreads was like, so if you've listened to our podcast, you've heard this book. Okay.
What was your rating, Ace?
Probably about 3.5.
Hey.
So we didn't. We liked it.
Because I like the points that she made.
Mhm.
She kept making the same point over and over, I feel like, sometimes.
Andrew was saying that yesterday.
And when we get to it, I'll compare it to another book that I loved and respected the person of, but I had the same feeling about.
Yeah.
And it's just sometimes, and to me, I'm like, I don't know if it's an editing thing, and maybe editors are trying to be a little more, they want to crush the spirits of there, but, editors, do your job.
Like, I respect the points you were making, and I agree
Yeah.
with them, but why did it have to be so many times?
We were getting a little Danielle Steely there.
Yeah.
It's like we
We
were
are
repeating ourselves.
aging. We do need repetitive things.
That's true, because I did not retain much information from this book.
Yeah. I love a good circle back moment, and a lot of her humor is based in circling back and referencing things from the beginning, and I love it. It's just at some point there, because every single line contained a reference, quote, or a joke, she circled back to so many of them. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I remember why it's funny that her husband's wearing a watch.
Yeah.
I do, actually.
Okay, why was it funny?
Because when she was in one of the church camps, she said, what was what's the thing you're looking for in a man? And she says someone who wears a watch because she was never on time. And they were like, no, it's supposed to be a godly man. And then she felt shame because the first thing she thought of was the watch. Yeah, that one I got.
Okay, see, like, that is a really funny, lovely moment. And when you isolate the moments, they're so good. Like, when I start to, like, really think, like, what would I pick apart, it gets hard.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, I guess why the editor left it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Questions.
Okay, one thing.
Yeah.
She used a lot of, like, initialisms, acronyms, and that kind of.
Oh, initialisms. I've never
Yeah.
heard that word.
Well, I learned recently that acronym is the one that you can say, like NASA, and initialism is just the letters.
Thank you for teaching me something.
Yeah, it was on TikTok. Anyways, she.
We're aging, and yet we're using TikTok references. So.
I'm sorry. It is a good way to relay information. The issue we have is determining whether or not the information is real. That's why you go to your library.
Yeah. Anyways, she used a lot of initialisms. I'm like, I don't remember what that means.
I know. So when she reads the book, I think she says it out loud, because when I would go back to try and find where I was in the book, when I was switching between audio and reading, sometimes I would see the initials. I'm like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
But I think in the audiobook, she would say it out loud.
Another reason to listen to it, not read it.
Also, she would say things in the cadence in which she meant it instead of my own, like, brain cadence, and it was helpful.
Okay, first question. What did you think of Kennedy's perspective of growing up as a millennial? Roughly. It was hard to come up with questions for this book. But
I will
say
say
that
that she made it very clear from the beginning, because in a lot of our culture, it's like, well, you're not representing everyone's millennial experience.
Yeah.
She makes it very clear, I can't represent everyone's millennial experience. I understand there's other experiences out there, which to me was the encouragement of, you share your experience. Because I think with the podcast, she wants that kind of shared. This is just how I grew up and how pop culture affected me. So that kind of helped too, because they bill it as if it's not a memoir. We talked
Mhm.
about this. It's a memoir.
Yeah.
He's definitely a memoir.
With a lot of pop culture references. And knowing that, going into it, I was confused because it was like, this is a memoir, because that's not how it was marketed.
Yeah.
It is. It's very much so. And so when you get into that frame of she understands this is her story, she understands she's not representing everyone, she encourages that representation, she celebrates it in other places, but she also doesn't want to appropriate it, which I think is a pretty. So I didn't mind that it was her perspective. It's just not what I expected going into it.
Mm-hmm.
Which that
Yeah.
maybe is a marketing problem more so than a Kate problem.
I think a little bit maybe also her accepting what it is she's putting out there. And I think if she had accepted, like, this is just a memoir and it talks about how much pop culture influenced her view of the world, and her understanding of these big concepts, I think it would have, embracing it would have helped a little bit in, I think, the editing process. Or, like, she could have taken out some of the pop culture references. It doesn't need to be in every single line.
Yeah.
Well, and I go back to Goodreads because there's going to be a point where I say, I read those for a reason, and then it kind of came back to it. But that was one of the things was, this just was not what I was expecting. I was
Mhm.
expecting it to be some sort of universal millennial experience. Well, first of all, no one can do that. Not one single person can do a universal millennial experience. So I don't, but I just feel like because we were trying so hard to push that pop culture element,
Yeah.
it didn't quite.
Yeah, I was hesitant about reading this book because I thought it was going to be like a textbook about millennial life. And I was like, I can't get into that. And then when I actually started, I was like, oh, this is fun. We're good. We're here. And then I hit that American Girl chapter and I was like, and I'm out.
Yeah.
However, that being said, to answer your question, I think she did a good job. She was very thorough in excavating her millennial references. Like, I could feel it. There was a lot of mirror neuron firing, both good and bad, throughout her experience for me. However, I say that as a middle-class white girl who grew up in the South.
Yeah.
Like,
There were moments, though, where she says, I didn't think I was going to share this because I didn't want it to come off as like I had it worse than other people.
mm-hmm.
But then she says, no, I'm not sharing it because I thought I had it worse than other people, like the mental health stuff in college. I'm sharing it because it's still an important story to share. My story is still important to share. So I do think she recognizes in some of those cases where she knows that there are very different perspectives, but she also is like, I still have the right to share my space as well. And so I do kind of feel like she, and I would have been upset if she had said, I'm not going to share this part because I feel like it's just whiny, or I feel like it doesn't, that it's not
Yeah.
universal. But I'm like, no, it was something that you went through, and it sounds like it was some pretty severe depression at one point. It's okay to talk about it. So I do think that she made it very clear this was not a universal millennial experience. And so once you kind of get through that, it didn't bother me.
I have a follow-up question, but I'm curious what your answer is.
Oh, she lost me a lot.
Mhm.
But no, she was really good about it's just her that experienced. This is her life and this is her experience, and how, as who she is, a middle class white woman raised in the South.
Protestant at that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That she was good at narrowing her perspective to herself and not like generalizing for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
which I appreciated because I didn't understand a lot of what she was saying because I had a different pop culture upbringing. Like, I recognize some stuff, but a lot of it's like, I have no idea what she's talking about.
Yeah. So, what I was curious about was how much you felt like what was this? Like, how much did you relate? Like, was this your millennial story? Because I had a lot of it. Some of her, I'm going to say hyper focuses, were not my hyper focuses. And I feel like she left out, I guess because she didn't have brothers or a ton of,
She had a younger brother.
She does?
Yeah.
Whoops-a-doodle. Oh, I was
She
like,
never mentions him, does she?
Yeah, she mentioned, when she talked about her family in the beginning, I think she mentioned that she had a younger brother, but she mostly mentioned like her parents and her
And
older
her
sister.
Older sister.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe he was like way younger.
maybe.
Maybe.
Well, the other thing I'm thinking about is like there were no boy references, and maybe that was true to herself. But like, I'm like, where's your Power Rangers? Where's Voltron? Where's, like she talked briefly about athletics, but not a whole lot. Like, I think I don't know. I was just curious. It seemed like she didn't interact with anybody outside of her friend group or scope. Like, I'm like, did you not interact with other millennials who are more into like other things? I don't know.
So I had a big sister. So a lot of this stuff rang true whether I personally experienced it or I experienced it through Lauren. So that, when you said, you're right, there was no male perspective. But she also made it very clear that I think there was some introvert and so maybe for her, she felt more comfortable with the friends. So that's what there's other thing too. There are times where people come up to me and they're like, do you remember that time in third grade? No.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think part of it's the selective memory process. I mean, I know how that sounds, but
Yeah.
maybe those other things were there. They just didn't have enough of an impact on her.
Maybe they
to
were
be
edited
remembered.
out of the
Yeah,
book.
Maybe they were edited out of the book. But I also, I mean, no, she made it clear from the very beginning, this was not going to reflect my millennial experience.
Yeah.
But like I said, because I had an older sister, I actually connected with it a lot more than I thought. But some of them, like the AIM chapter, I was on. I was like, this is my life. And then the early part of the college chapter about going out
Mm-hmm.
and this
My
is going to be the
gosh.
best night ever. And like the uploading on Facebook the next day, you'd have like 14,000 tags on, that kind of stuff. Really
I just want to
connected.
dance.
Just want to dance.
Just want to dance in a circle. Oh my gosh.
the like bottom shelf liquor that you were drinking and that kind I actually bottom shelf liquor drank at Virginia Tech my freshman year with a friend who went there. So I'm like, we might have crossed paths. I don't
We
even know. I don't
could've.
think so. I think she's too old. But
Hey,
I didn't mean for me to have crossed paths. Not that she's too old of a person.
we were in college sort of kind of at the same, because she's my age.
Oh, so we were on campus at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
She and I were for that like 48 hours that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I also went to the football game that she was watching. Along Came Polly while the football game was going on. So whatever. Because my dad's a Hokie, so I did relate to that. But yeah, so some of those things did, and some of them didn't. Some of them just didn't. But I was also okay with that because I'm sure there are a lot of things. If I were to write my millennial whatever, there would be a lot of things where she's like, I have no connection to that. So that's okay. But you're right. There really was. I mean, like, you had no male friends? None?
Well, she did. She talked about it. She was just friends with benefits with a lot of them, I think, and it didn't work out. Or there's that
True.
one.
Yeah. That was,
Like, that was one of her issues. Like, she'd have male friends, but they didn't even ever want to be, like,
More
more.
than.
I
Yeah.
related so hard to that because that was the zone that I lived in. Like, very much so.
Oh.
Like, I was always friends with the, like, prettier girl, you know what I mean? Who got all the attention, just historically. And it seemed to consistently happen. I'm like, hello? I'm fabulous.
You are.
Anyway.
So again, there is a narrow
Mm-hmm.
thing about it, but I mean, she wrote. I can't imagine if she tried to expand her perspective, it would have been a 600-page book.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right. Maybe there was a lot more in there, and the editor said, "Let's really
Just keep it about you.
keep it
Talk
about
what you know.
the things
Yeah.
that were the most." Because there's a lot, as she said, in the 90s particularly, the consumption culture really, there was a lot of pop culture in the 90s that's still very relevant and prevalent today, because millennials keep it alive. You can't put all, she focused on the ones, I guess, that had the most impact on her, which
Yeah.
then I respect that. So
Yeah, I found the line. My mom, dad, sister, brother, and my dog Daisy May and I lived in a suburb of Richmond, Virginia. So yeah, she did have a brother. She just didn't really talk about him in the book.
My goodness.
Yeah. I mean, she barely mentioned her sister.
Yeah, but I know her sister's name is Kelly. 'Cause
Yeah.
Makes me want, oh, I hope not, that her brother's name was like Kevin. But,
Oh yeah.
but then maybe that was not a great choice, parents. I hope that is not the case. Please have like a Brad.
Okay, next question. Was there anything you disagreed with or experienced differently than Kennedy? Which is probably a dumb question because, of course. So
It's
one
not
thing,
a dumb question.
Yeah, one thing that stood out to me was when she said that she didn't have a lot of interaction with like mental health
Mm-hmm.
culture or something like that before 2010, which was strange to me. And it might be, I don't want to reveal anything about anybody I know, but that's not my experience.
that would be mine, though.
It wasn't mine.
We were very,
Yeah.
I lived a very glossed over late high school, early college, very glossed over party culture type thing. We didn't delve into the depths of stuff like that.
Mm.
It also sounds like she came from a very loving, supportive
Yeah.
home where her parents were very present and also accepting. Like the fact that her mom kept all of her stuff. I loved the mediocre chapter. She kept all of her stuff, and on her 12th place, like swimming ribbon, wrote "Wow." Like she's got supportive parents. So even though she's struggling, it sounds like, with mental health, it doesn't sound like she's struggling in a place where she wouldn't get support. And that might not ring true for all of us.
If she had the support when and maybe that's why college was a struggle, because she'd always had that home support.
That's a great
So when
observation.
she got to college is when, but she didn't know she couldn't recognize what it was. She just thought, oh, I'm overworked, trying to be in school.
All of those things can still
Because
be
every
true.
time she had maybe those things in her childhood, she always had someone around her to be her support system. And when you have a support system, you don't notice it as much. I mean, that's just, so maybe that's why college was rough.
You notice it, but it kind of can take the edge off a little bit. But then, like, when maybe she wasn't around her support system as much, or maybe it's just the heavy feelings just got really heavy. Because, I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on in your late teens, early 20s, especially as a lady. Those hormones, no joke.
And you're moving out and you're trying, you're meeting new people, and I don't know, I just, that I could see is why it didn't really cross her mind what it was until it was like, oh wait, okay, this is what it is. And
Yeah.
Well, she was chasing the promise of what was going to make her happy,
Right.
and finding out, like, that exploring the difference of, like, this is what should be making me happy, this is what I should be doing in order to, like, why is it not working? Like, I really feel that. I understand that. That is one thing that crossed over, I feel like, and I think that would cross over a lot of millennials. So.
I didn't think she said anything incorrect, like, or that I didn't have a place to disagree with, because that was her opinion, and her, you know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people did, and on Goodreads, that's where I got defensive of her, was when people were like, well, she just hates religion. She hates God. I'm like, that's not.
I don't think that's what she
Yeah.
said. I think
No.
she still maintains
Yeah.
a religious perspective.
She's like Kendall. She's obsessed with cults.
Oh my God, how can you be a millennial and not be obsessed with
I
cults?
know, right?
Well, but as a Rotarian, I get it. So love my Rotary family. We're kidding. But
No, we're not.
it has moments of it. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, she made it very clear that it never changed the fact that she had faith, and her whole point was you weren't allowed to criticize it, which was the problem. So then she criticized it, and people are like, no, you're not. Basically, you're not allowed to criticize it. You just hate it.
Yeah.
And I was like, it reminds me of, about the Grinch. There's a pillows thing called, I can't remember the name of the studio, but they do these like really nice like embroidered pillows that you would have at your grandmother's house, but they all have like funny sayings on it.
Yeah.
And the one is that I love is, the Grinch did not hate Christmas, he hated people. And that's like, I kind of feel like that's her experience. She didn't hate God, she didn't hate faith, she hated some of the people and the experiences that twisted her mind and made her believe things that were detrimental in a lot of ways to her growth and development. So I'm like, so I got defensive of her about that, because people were like, she's so political. I'm like, I didn't actually think she was super political. And maybe I think she was just honest about how these things affected her life. So I got, after when I was reading those comments, I'm like, you missed the whole point. You're wrong. So I'm going to say, even if there were moments where I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with that, it's not my place to do that. That's her opinion.
Yeah.
And she never presents it in a disrespectful way at all.
No.
And so you have to be respectful back to it. I mean, I honestly agree with a lot of what she was saying about things.
Yeah.
So I do understand that's where that comes from. But I feel like had she taken another tact or had a different opinion, but she took it in the same way that I would have said, I can respectfully say that's your opinion. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
All right.
Don't apologize.
Don't apologize.
Was there something you wanted her to talk about and that she didn't? What is it?
I thought she was going to talk a little bit more about how her millennial experience and how it shaped her and how she interacted with people who are not millennials, both younger generations and older. She kind of touched on it on like job interviews and how like the Doobie Brothers really got the ball rolling in an interview, whereas, you know, it wasn't so much, what was it, like her favorite movie or something like that. I don't know. She says something kind of trivial, like millennial, and they were like, pah. And, but I was surprised that the conversation wasn't more about how she interacted and moved through a world that wasn't always so accepting of her millennial behavior ways.
That's a good one, because I've always lived in those, like, I grew up, I was very close with, like, my grandparents' generation, which was the end of the greatest and some of the boomer generation. And because you always joke at like 35, I go to a lot of funerals. It's because
You
I had
do.
made a lot of connections with people who are a lot. And I look at my friend group, and they're like, we're all in the same, general years, but a lot of my friends are either younger than that or older than that.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been interesting, is to compare to you talking about would I have seen myself in the book? That would have been an interesting one to see if that parallels my life. Like, for example, with Rotary, a lot of them tend to be older, but I've made amazing friends.
Mm-hmm.
And there are moments where there's that generational gap, but in general, it's never been a problem. So yeah, that would have been a good one. A little more of that.
Yeah, like even working here, like so many of our staff members are in their early 20s, and then we have so many of our, Gen Xer and Boomer, and how we interact and move, and it's like feeling both like I still should be young, like I'm one of the 20-somethings. No, I'm not. I'm almost 40, but in my internal world, my references, I still feel like I'm in my early 20s. And then also then now I'm experiencing it on the, you look up to the older generations, and it's like, is this what it's been like the whole time? This internal feeling you're having? Like, I don't know. I think I would have liked a little bit more of that.
Yes, I agree. Good point. All right.
What
Next
did you
question.
think?
Okay,
No,
what
her
do you think?
opinion, her
I
opinion
forgot.
matters.
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying.
Okay.
Okay.
What was the question, and what is your answer?
Well, was there something you wanted her to talk about and that she didn't?
Yes. What did you want to know more about?
I don't know. It's gonna sound weird, but more like historical points. So it helped me track where she is. If that makes sense. Like I mentioned to you yesterday that I'm surprised she didn't at all mention 9/11.
Yeah.
That was such a big moment.
It was.
So after the Virginia Tech chapter where she was like, I don't like centering myself as a part of tragedy, and that's why she didn't really talk about Virginia Tech, but clearly that impacted her.
Oh, yeah.
The idea that 9/11 wouldn't have impacted her, even though she wasn't in New York City at the time, it's still impacted and shaped even the pop culture, because the movies that then became more popular after 9/11, like Spider-Man was the thing when that spider ends on the pole and it's the American flag, and it's a unifying feeling after we've just experienced this collective trauma as a nation, even though we weren't actually in New York. And that's not to downplay anything that happened to the people who were actually in New York and surviving in the planes. There's so much that happened. But the idea that you can't be talk about how it affected you.
She lived in Virginia. You're telling me you didn't have any connection? D.C. My dad was in D.C. on 9/11 and for a work trip. We all have those stories that somehow connect back to. We knew where we were when we saw the the plane hit and all that. You're right. It was so focused on pop culture that every other part of the culture.
There are ways to add milestones without centering yourself, I think.
Yeah, and you can relate 9/11 to pop culture because it had an effect on pop culture. So, but yeah, I was kind of surprised she didn't do that, or even other historical moments. One that always comes to mind when I think of my childhood is the Bill Clinton.
Oh my gosh, or O.J. Simpson.
She did mention Monica Lewinsky, but she never mentioned it in the
Mm-hmm.
O.J. Where was the
Monica Lewinsky would have been a big one because that that shaped so much about how culture talked about women.
Yeah,
and then how it affect us as girls.
And I think it was 2 or 3 sentences.
I know that
chapters. Yeah.
And then now to see the arc that Monica Lewinsky has taken her time, and now she's really done a lot of internal work and come back and is let's talk about bullying and culture and how this impacted me and everyone. So I agree. Adding more milestones and touchstones that happened to all of us.
Yeah.
And if you don't think the Bill Clinton Monica Lewinsky thing was, if you go back and watch listen to anything from the 90s when that was going on, it was in every sitcom, every
late nights.
Yeah, it permeated the pop culture as much as it did the news.
Yeah, but she did say that she was not as her access to media was limited.
That's true.
So it could be part of that because we watched TV all the time when I was growing up.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
we weren't watching what I wanted to watch. We were watching what my parents wanted.
Same.
To watch.
I watched a lot of news.
Yeah,
I watched a lot of Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful.
I learned
As the World Turns.
That was so informative. Learning that where soap operas came from was because that was the material that was put out so that they could make commercials to sell women laundry detergent, and that's why they're called soap operas. Holy cow! Had no idea. I feel so manipulated.
See, and I feel like I got raised by Catherine Chancellor and Nikki Newman, and like I don't know, I watched whatever my sister wanted. So that's why like I watched Gilmore Girls because we only had one TV, and that's what Lauren would watch, and there was nothing at 8:00 at night that I was going to want to watch. Dawson's Creek we watch. Oh God, I hate that show.
So good, season 3
Although
and
then
4
they
is
had
so
the big
good.
reunion, and I saw the clips of it, and I was like, oh, I was like, okay, so maybe I have more fond memories of it than I think. Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, there was not one Dr. Quinn reference.
There really wasn't. I spent a lot of time watching action TV and all of those old. That's where I learned Golden Girls and
Designing Women. She mentioned
Designing Women.
She mentioned Golden Girls, Designing Women, Living Single as like the birth of women and telling their own stories in television, whatever. But like those were my like I still devour those shows on the daily. So I was like, I would have loved a whole chapter about like Yvette Lee Bowser, and but again, she didn't consume those. She just acknowledged that was a historical context that she not acknowledged, but it was in the pop culture historical context. So anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite essay or aside from the book that you would want her to expound on?
Okay, so there was a lot of things I liked. Because I was listening, I didn't catch sometimes when we were in and out of the essays, in and out of those so random moments. I kind of wish the so random moments weren't there, but kind of their own little essay. Like she could have just broken it up into shorter chapters or something like that. I don't know.
The so randoms weren't random. They were connected back to what she was saying.
It was her version of a footnote.
Yeah.
But it was so long.
20-page footnote.
Her footnotes were not great. Like the actual ones. It's just a link. I'm like, that's not how you cite something.
That's
the librarian and he's like, that's not APA.
That's not how you cite something.
So I mean, there were. I know that you and I talked about the Saved by the Bell one. That one was excellent.
Yes, I like that one. About Jessie Spano and her feminism and how it was a joke, but
I'm
really.
So scared.
Yeah.
I love that she's like, and every time I see Mario, she doesn't even call him Mario Lopez because she's not mad at Mario Lopez, but because he's fine. But AC Slater, every time I see his face on it, that was funny.
Yeah.
The AIM one was dead on.
What were your AIM screen? What was your screen name?
I don't remember now. That's one that I don't remember.
You don't? Okay, so when it first was created, I was Ellie Girl 520 because I liked elephants. So ELEGRL 520. But then I had to create a new one, and this is where I wish I hadn't, because it follows me still into my 40s. I was really into the Chicken Little story, and I thought it was so cute, so I was Chicken Little 520.
Aww.
I love it.
Yeah, you can still email that email, by the way. I won't check it.
There's so many emails that like are just sitting and dead, and I wonder if they just purge them every once in a while.
I think they do. I've received emails where it's like, you've had inactivity. And I'm like, surprise, surprise, but you're my spam email now.
I delete all my old emails if I'm not going to use them. I shouldn't because there's accounts that they're still attached to.
What was your screen name?
I didn't have AOL.
Oh.
I didn't have AIM.
So the reason we had it was because we got it in the CD in the mail, and so I would have it for approximately 2 weeks.
I remember
like
having it. But when she talked about like the sound of it coming on, and I was like, yeah, that's my child rushing home to AIM.
Definitely
people.
had dial up, but we didn't have AOL. We didn't use AOL.
The whole like leaving it away
Netscape.
message. Yeah, what Netscape? The whole like leaving it away message that was like cryptic.
Yes.
Oh, I did the heck out of that.
Same. I mean, really, that one really hit me more so in college. Because we were still using AIM in college, early college for me, before, Facebook took over.
Yeah.
MySpace. She didn't mention MySpace, but I think she did, but it wasn't. That was a big one for me in high school. We were all MySpace obsessed. I still like the idea of ranking your friends. I was like, I want people to know where they stand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're not in the top 12, what are you doing?
Also, I love that you call it top 12 because it's top 8. And Tom
it was
is number
top
1.
8, and then they expanded it to top 12, and then it died because then everyone went to Facebook. But MySpace was always good because you could like code, and people would like their whole page was like the cryptic pop culture quotes. The one that I can't remember one of the ones she did. I was like, oh my god, that was like the cheesiest thing. But we all like, it was all over our AIMs. Was it the life's not measured by the breaths? That's not that one. I can't remember which one she said, but I was like, that was my away message.
Song lyrics. Lyrics were a big one. Oh my gosh. Because then you got to be cool by referencing the music you liked, And then it was like a little signal to somebody who also liked that music. And then if you didn't know what the away message was, you Google their little away message and find out what song it was and listen to that music.
The whole like waiting on something, you didn't want to seem like you wanted to talk to someone, so you were desperately hoping that they would talk to you.
That was funny. I didn't do that. I wasn't smart enough or clever enough for that. That my mom would have logged us off because it took up the
phone line,
dial-up.
yeah. But that chapter hit the most because when you talk about did it relate to me as a male, that was the one that was universal, I feel like. Except for Angelique, sorry.
Also, being able to talk to your crush online when you couldn't approach them in the hallway, that was very, very core to my experience.
Yeah.
The evenings I wasted sitting there typing. You think about that now, like, because you couldn't, like you said, you couldn't do anything else. There was no TV in that computer room because we only had one TV in the house. So you would just sit there in anticipation, waiting.
The anxiety. Cue Dochi's anxiety.
All right. Next question. Do you think that there is a quintessential millennial experience? If so, what is it? Or what comes to mind when you think of a quintessential millennial experience?
I think when she was talking about how we were digital natives, we grew up without it, and we spent our whole life catching up, like that sort of part of the beginning, it wasn't pop culture that she was referencing. It was just the reality of the world that we grew up in. I kind of related to that, and I feel like a lot of millennials probably would too. You know what I'm talking about? Where she was like, you feel like you were the first ones to do the technology, but then you always feel like you're behind because now it's moving so fast but then you remember a time when we didn't always have it. And I don't know, I can't remember how exactly she phrased it now because I'm like you, I can't retain anything anymore. But
just a sieve up there.
it really is. But there was a moment where I was like, it wasn't the bigger context of historical context, but she was kind of saying that there's a reason why millennials fit in or are called millennials.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like everyone went through that experience. We all grew up with certain things in the classroom, and then we got our first of this and all that. I don't know. So that was probably the most. Other than that, no, I don't think you can say there's a universal. Everyone's experience is different.
I mean, I think if we're speaking in very general terms, I think the way she talks about the millennial work ethic, because millennials, we were part of, like, our generation restructured what we valued, and we were more vocal about value and change. And I think that paved the way for the next generation to do a better job of, getting the things that we need out of life, work-life balance. But also we were very much so side hustle culture. I think that is kind of pervasive across our work ethic. Like, I think her talking about how we get kind of dogged for our work ethic, but at the same time, we are working nonstop and it's exhausting.
And we're getting less than other generations got for that hard work.
And because it looks different, it looks like we're not working as hard. I think that is pervasive across at least working millennials. And then I really did relate to a lot of the stuff that she was talking about in her pursuit of motherhood. But that's not going to be encompassing towards the kid. Like, it's not going to address people who either aren't carrying children or the guys, or women who choose not to have children. But I did really relate to a lot of her stuff there. How about you?
I don't know. I couldn't really think of one, honestly, but I figured it'd be a good conversation starter.
So smart.
Thanks.
Insightful.
I don't know. When I think of my childhood, the biggest thing I take from it that's so different from today is that we just went wherever we wanted, unsupervised.
Oh my God, yeah.
We were the last,
yeah,
latchkey generation.
Yeah.
The drink from the hose. There was something that was like, it was a Gen X person, but I feel like we're kind of the elder millennials, so we fell into that as well, where it's like, why did you drink from the hose? Like, why didn't you go inside? We weren't allowed inside. Like, and I remember those situations, like, go outside and play. We were that kind of last generation that did that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that happens still a little, and as a parent and experiencing it, I think one of the bigger differences is my kids' generation just has access to screens.
Yeah.
More so. Like, my kids still do stupid stuff outside. Like,
That's good.
Like, I mean,
but,
who was it that just ate dirt? And I was like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? This is not a good idea. You're too old to know. Like, you should know better at this point. Like, that still happens. They still explore. Like, they still have that, like, I don't want to
Mhm.
idealize the past too much. It's just now they also have the ability to pick up a screen, and I'm less stressed because of it. So, no hate on screens.
All right. Last question. Who would you recommend this book to? Would you recommend it to other millennials that you know?
So here's where I struggle. I don't know who she wrote this book for. I could not figure out the audience. Is it for other millennials? Are we validating our experience? Are we now trying to is she taking the raw data of our millennial experiences and drawing conclusions that she's wanting to share? Is she trying to talk to younger? So like Maddie said that this was a 5-star book for her.
Mhm.
So maybe it contextualized because she's the youngest millennial. She's a cusper. She's almost Gen Z.
Right.
So like maybe it provided more contextualization. I mean, it was funny. It was like Lorelai Gilmore talking to me through this whole book. Like,
But then part of me is also like, you keep saying, like, I'm trying to be like Lorelai Gilmore. Part of me is like, okay, well, you know, you're not Lorelai. Yeah.
Anyway, but like the point is like, but then it's like, okay, is she trying to explain to other people the millennial perspective? And in that case, it would be addressing other generations. And then all of the little inside jokes don't make sense. And so I cannot figure out who to recommend this to because I cannot figure out who she's writing to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm kind of agree. I don't really know. I mean, I guess I will say that if you are a millennial, you'll probably find something in here that you connect with. I mean, I guess that is for that audience. Again, what it looks like on the surface and what it ends up being are two different things for me. So I think a lot of people picked this book up expecting something different, and then they were like, you know what I mean? So I don't know who she wrote it for.
If you like funny, easy breezy stuff, this is your book.
It is easy breezy, but again, it was not an easy read at the same time. So it's interesting.
Listen to it as an audiobook. If you like audiobooks, they're easy breezy. This is your book.
All right. Any notes?
Oh, I got a ton of notes.
Any final thoughts?
Okay, well, before I do my notes, do you have any lasting thoughts?
No, I'm good.
All right, I haven't actually. All right. Oh, I also watched The Summer I Turned Pretty and Project Runway.
There you go.
I had more. There was a prologue and an introduction, and I take umbrage with both of those things.
Yes.
The prologue was unnecessary, but I get why she put it in there. It's supposed to feel like the character's inner monologue at the beginning of a WB TV show, like Liz Parker's diary entry at the beginning of the episode of Roswell. Did you guys watch Roswell?
It's not a Roswell.
A little bit.
Person.
Anyway, it's also hard for me to understand why people who say they aren't on social media or know about pop culture, and then I had kids, and it hurts my feelings how quickly I became that person. Oh, I know what I'm trying to say. I don't understand when people are like, I don't get that reference. It doesn't make sense to me. But then now that I have children and I don't get that reference, it hurts my feelings that I'm that person now. So many of my experiences, so many of my core values were shaped by my TV. So I relate to that. On page 5, she said she felt like she was an amalgam of cultural and zeitgeist, foregoing the discomfort of forging my own identity and instead burying it in other people's coolness that had already been pre-approved by society. And I was like, uh-oh, this book is hitting too close to home. Like, this is making me uncomfortable to listen to. And then I also felt like she was doing what Keiko did in A Convenience Store Woman, being resourceful to blend in and survive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are good things in this book. This book, like, I feel like we spent the whole time, like, being like, meh, this book. But I'm like, it was a good book. I already just said that. Listening to the introduction, this just feels like an essay. Where is this book going? And I still don't know. And then I was like, oh, it is a collection of essays. She says it. She said Lilas. Oh, that's so funny. On page 30, you could exercise your musical talents further with rain sticks at Natural Wonders, but not before debating if you wanted to buy a single polished rock and place it in a velvet bag, an early sign that millennials would later resort to crystals for self-care. She had so many funny little lines. I didn't have an American Girl doll, but I loved the Meet the Samantha book. The book itself had excellent texture, smooth pages, very luxe. And I could not afford an actual American Girl doll. And my knockoff was named Emily Ann. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you related to this because I don't know if you went to malls ever. But cucumber melon, warm vanilla sugar, and sweet pea were indeed the most superior scents. Like Bath and Body Works scents. Oh my gosh.
I loved the East Ridge Mall when I was growing up.
Did you guys
Yeah.
go to Bath and Body Works?
No, not really. We went to Claire's a lot when I was a kid.
We went to Claire's a lot too.
See, I loved Easter's Mall, but we grew up a lot. So my sister's first couple years, they lived in Charlotte. And so I loved the old South Park Mall where you used to like go up the stairs up the escalator to the food court, and there was the cigar shop, and it smelled like the cigars or whatever. And they had like a Sbarro. And it was before it became all like bougie and, New York Avenue or Rodeo Drive or whatever. But yeah, I did love the malls. I did. I hate going into. I love going to South Park now, even though it's bougie, just because it's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Going to Easter's is depressing.
Yeah.
It is so rough now.
It's so rough.
Like emotionally, not
yeah.
like the physical experience of going. But
Well, I mean, it's deteriorating. I saw a video the other day.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to read the American Girl doll pop-up. Can I skip it? Like, that's kind of how I felt about a lot of the pop-ups, the So Randoms or whatever. I appreciate what she was doing by the pop-up video reference. I wish she hadn't done it, though. I also had a daybed, and I related to everything she said 100% about the daybed. She has my number, and I'm mad about it. Like, I felt so seen in a frustrating way. I was like, ugh. I like that she referenced King's Dominion because that's where my parents worked when they were in college. That's where they had all of their cool stories. I loved the chapter about that she talked about cars, and also felt very called out because Marcus in college had a yellow Xterra.
Nice.
I hate thinking that I would like this book more if it were shorter. I don't like asking her to work less in order for me to like her book, but it listens better. It just does. I was like, limited. I'm spending the whole book trying to figure out how I can like it better because I want to like it more.
Mm-hmm.
Limited audio series. Is that a thing? It should be.
Well,
Like, who is the audience? I wasn't in a sorority, but I wish I knew a better way to network in college because sororities were so important. Oh, serotonin, plain and tall.
Oh, yeah.
That I liked that chapter. You were asking. I thought it was also very funny. I thought that was one of the better ones when she's talking about how her depression, like, and how she coped with it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
No, I agree.
I loved the connection between boy bands and worship songs and how it achieved the same effect in her.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. The story about the boy who cried when she kissed him and she was in the loft bed and had to like figure out how to get past him and down the and without hitting the ceiling and down the ladder.
That was funny.
Oh, she talked about found family at work, and I also feel like I found family at work. Love you guys.
Mm.
I agree.
Lots of clever wordplay.
Okay, while she's looking, I thought of one that I loved.
Oh, good.
When she decided all the church camps, all the whatever, but when she had to get up early to go to
the
poll, she's like, that's the downfall of my religious experience. I'm not getting up earlier than I have to. And I was like, I totally relate to that because I'm the kind of person that would be the reason why I wouldn't go to something. It's too late. I mean, we're the ones who were like, it was 11:30 when we got back. We're like, this is too late. We're old. So yeah, I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was good.
Sorry, Kendall.
No, don't be sorry. I'm glad you're adding instead of just me just rambling. I don't know if it's good. The Parent Trap chapter, that had a lot more of the depth I was looking for, but then I felt like this is her deep, deep trauma, and like you can hear her like getting choked up as she's reading it in the audiobook. Like, and I'm like, well, I mean, I don't want to be invasive, but this is the best one. It's like she's able to relate it better to herself and her outside world as opposed to keeping it so surface.
I will say that Parent Trap was one of those that we rewatched a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not realize how many people felt the same way about it. But the actress who played Meredith Blake and the actress who played Chessie have been like going to award shows together, and I'm like, and it's all over social media, and so she made a lot of Parent Trap references, and like, I'm glad it was as much of your part of your experience as it was for me, because sometimes I do feel like that was part of the book I liked. Sometimes I felt like some of those things I liked were in silos, because like, maybe my friends around me didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But when she starts talking, when she makes like a Chessie reference, I'm like, yes, thank you. Anyway, that's my.
So I just have 2 more points to make. The first was like, I really appreciate that she talks about liking being basic so much. But then I realized she and her basic pursuits and looking for social acceptance represents a lot of the popular culture that was so marginalizing and damaging to the other side, and like because of that, it makes me feel like I'm trying to identify with the plight of a popular girl, and it makes me not like it. Like, it sours it just a little bit for me. And I'm like, okay, cry a little more. But she's really good about contextualizing it, talking about how it's just her experience and how there are many more diverse experiences that are really, like, we should be paying attention
And
to
she
those
often
too.
says stuff like, it sounds trivial, but here's why it meant something to me. You know, like, because later on in life, it came back to some moment where I realized, you know, that's because of that.
So let me say, I guess if you're a basic Barbie, then this is your book. She is singing you the depths of your soul.
Yeah.
This is for you. And I figured out as I was coming in how I needed to have this book presented to me. It needed to not be an essay format. It needed to be a diary. I wanted her to create a diary where a lot of these like really random jokes and references could be scribbled in the margins. She can have doodles. She can have fun quotes, but then she can keep the content really streamlined and like a journal entry.
Because she talked about journaling and diary, you know, so
And-
this is
and
probably adapted from that.
Popular girl lettering.
Mhm.
I think I think there'd have been a better marketing for it.
Because that one I did not.
You could present it as read a journal. The journal of a basic girl. Yes, I'm here for it. Let's do it.
The pumpkin spice girl.
Oh my gosh, yes. By the way,
If you're going to be cutesy about it, you know.
have you heard the joke about like no, it's not really a joke, but like they're like, oh, you know, back in the day they would use cinnamon and nutmeg and stuff like that to ward away evil spirits. So if you don't like pumpkin spice, it's because you're the evil spirit.
Fair
Anyway.
enough.
All right, sorry, Angelique, that was very long. Sorry, audience.
Sorry.
All right, we
But
done?
not sorry. We don't apologize.
We don't apologize.
All right, no more notes.
No more basic Kindle notes.
All right, to close out this episode, I would like to promote one of the library's best resources, NC Live. NC Live provides access to an online collection of 1.6 billion full-text articles, ebooks, streaming videos, digitized newspapers, language learning tools, and more. You can access NC Live through the library website, gastonlibrary.org, or through nclive.org. All you need is your library card number. So if you want to do some research on the history of boy bands, NC Live is a great place to start. That's it for this episode of We're Booked Up. One in a Millennial is available in print in the library and for download through the Libby app. Let us know what you think of the book and what you think of what we think of the book. Just leave a comment at the Off the Shelf blog at gastonlibrary.blogspot.com or gastonspeaks.podbean.com. Next month's book will be Christmas at Glitter Peak Lodge by Kirsty Herlin Janssen. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.